I basically told him, I was like, hey, you need to shut the five up. He said, excuse me, what did you say?
So Jimmy, welcome on the show.
Hey, Terrell, it's good to see you. And thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Now, first of all, how did you come up with that title?
A lot of people ask me that. Was trying to come up with something that would, like you said, catch your eye or catch your ear, if you will. And so that was definitely a title that was a labor of love. Tried to figure out what I wanted to accomplish in the book. And the book is a guide to finding peace in a chaotic world. And I can tell you right now, I started the book 2.5 years ago, but right now people need this more than ever.
Absolutely. Even as I've read, some of the first 3 chapters, and I guess you say the pre-launch version, which, by the way, thank you for that.
Of course, absolutely.
I definitely saw that, with the coronavirus and COVID-19, all that's going on now. It's just, wow. It's like, this is something people really, really need, because it's an area a lot of people struggle with.
Absolutely. And, your audience, especially, being business kind of minded people, it's possible that people have lost businesses that are listening to this. Possible that they've had to cut employees, or, the business has just declined. But I want to let you know that you can still find peace in the storm. And I believe that following the guidelines that I lay out in the book will sincerely help you as a business person.
Definitely. So tell us a little bit about, your background before writing this book. What was the life of Jimmy like?
I've owned 7 different businesses in the last 14 years. I feel God's put it on my heart to be an entrepreneur, and I've kind of gone out in that path. Certainly failed, which I talk about in the book. Certainly had some losses along the way, which I also talk about in the book. But overall, I'm an outgoing kind of guy. I love being outdoors. I love being with my family, my beautiful wife. We have 2 dogs at home, so I'm just a fun-loving kind of guy. So.
Awesome. So now your journey, and you talk about it in the book, so I don't want you to give away all the details, but you tell us a little bit about your journey to, coming to the benefits that you found and why you wanted to write this book.
Absolutely. So like I said, I've been working on the book for about 2.5 years or so. The reason that I started writing it was because, my wife actually had 2 miscarriages in 2018. It was a tough year for us. There was times where I turned to alcohol or pornography or things that I really shouldn't have been doing. And for whatever reason, it just started pouring out of me. I was basically in the car, in a parking lot, and I had a notebook and pen, and I just started writing. And it came to me that this idea, this concept of sitting still for 5 minutes is something that could not only benefit me, but also benefit others. I was on a plane with a guy, and he was going through a hard time, and just we kind of talked about business. We talked about his life and his family, and there was just some tough patches, very similar to what I was going through. And he asked me about a business that I had, and I told him I created a cool concept about a mud run kind of business. And he asked me how I came up with that, and I basically told him, I was like, hey, you need to shut the five up. He said, excuse me, what did you say? And so the concept really stuck. I went on to tell him, obviously, that sitting still for 5 minutes would be very beneficial to him. Got the guy's number. He's like, I'm going to do this for 10 days. Let's keep each other accountable. I'm going to be honest with you, Terrell, after about 3 days, I forgot to do it. And he texted me back 10 days later with an incredible message, basically saying that he did it for 10 days, that he found peace in his life. He was able to slow his mind down to where it was just incredible. And he got so much out of it. And here I am, I only did it for 3 days. So I dove back in. I said, okay, if this works, this is something I told a stranger about on a plane. He did it, I didn't. Let me shoot for 10 days. And once I did it for 10 days, sitting still for 5 minutes a day, it changed my life.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think that is what really makes it so, impactful is being able to clear your head. Because as you talked about, with owning 7 businesses, there were some ups and some downs, there can be a lot going on. And I think even entrepreneurs that we talk to on this show where they either had a business or they're, in the height of a business trying to close a big deal, the level of stress and the level of things that are on your mind they can be almost overwhelming.
Absolutely.
So I think your method definitely, even as my wife and I read it and just started practicing it ourselves, is just, just sit for 5 minutes and just let your head get a little bit clearer. Now, one of the things that a lot of people run into is they try it the first time and they're like, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize I had so many distractions. How did you
Right.
get through that?
Yeah, and a lot of people will tell me that 5 minutes is a long time, and while I agree with that on the to begin with, it's really not. Think about doing something that you enjoy for 5 minutes. It goes by just like that. But when you sit still, it is very, very difficult because we're just not wired that way. So the two biggest things, the two biggest areas that people struggle with is finding the place. So finding a place that is in silence. So you want to find a place that is comfortable. Like I'm sitting in a nice big chair right now. That's comfortable to me. It may look different for you, and of course it will look different based on your surroundings. But you want to find a quiet place. I told my wife, hey, I'm going upstairs because I'm doing a podcast. I let her know to take care of the dogs and all that kind of stuff. But similarly, so I would do the same thing if I was going to get my shut the five time up in. And the second thing is to figure out how to clear your mind. You really want to think of nothing. And the first time that you think about this, of course, you are thinking of something, but you really, really want to clear your head. So things that little tips and tricks that I teach in the book is, you can certainly use earplugs, to make sure that you can't hear, so that you don't have distractions. Another tip that I like is using a cloth. So shutting the five up is basically you want to find your quiet place. You want to set a timer for 5 minutes. And you want to just clear your mind. And for 5 minutes, you want to work on your breathing, and you want to just focus on nothing but, maybe the cloth, kind of rubbing the cloth between your fingers while your eyes are closed. That's a powerful thing because you're thinking about just this, and you can clear your thoughts. Other ways of doing that would be to actually take a thought captive, grab that thing and shove it into a box and throw it off a cliff. And if you're anything like me, you'll need an Amazon warehouse full of boxes because you have so many thoughts coming into your head. But these are some of the tips and tricks that I talk about in the book. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can do that you can clear your head, and a bunch of different ways you can do to find kind of your quiet place. But those are the two most important things to really getting the most out of your quiet time.
Okay. So for yourself, I mean, as you talked about, having several different businesses, I mean, just the trauma and traumatic experiences you and your wife face, I mean, with the miscarriages and just trying to just sort life. I mean, life is already complicated enough, but then when you start adding things like that, like what have been some of the benefits that you've seen this method do for your own life?
Absolutely. So I've found a level of peace that I just didn't know existed. Honestly, there's an ultimate peace to sitting still, for 5 minutes a day. And you may say, well, why? 5 minutes seems like such a short amount of time, but let's be honest. If we're trying to do something for the first time, 5 minutes is going to be like a long time. But the 5 minutes it's so powerful over time. So doing it day in, day out, you may not get anything from it the first time, but as you do it, as Chris on the plane, he did it for 10 days. I dove back in, I did it for 10 days, 10 days straight. I've shut the five up for months at a time, which is fantastic. And what it causes to me is just this peace, just this calmness. There's a stillness. I'm able to think clearer. I'm able to be more productive, have more energy. It's really changed my life.
Awesome, awesome. So now, what are some of the stories that you've heard from other people who have tried it? So you told us about the gentleman on the plane,
Absolutely.
and I like it in the book. Could you actually mention some of the stories in the book about the mother connecting with her child more? Like, what are some of the
Absolutely.
other stories you've heard about people practicing this method?
Yeah, and you actually hit the nail on the head with Heidi. That was the first one that I was going to kind of share. So Heidi is a stay-at-home mom, and she says after doing the Shut the Five Up, I experienced peace. It was very calming to just close my eyes and be in the moment. I actually felt my daughter's tummy rise and fall against mine as I am focused on my breathing. Somehow I'd never noticed that before ST5U, and it's such a sweet little experience for me. So I thought that was a really cool way. This mom was had her child on her stomach, I guess, and you're just kind of cuddling with her and taking time to get her own quiet time in, but really spending some quality time with her daughter. Now, I will say overall, you want to be by yourself when you do ST5U. However, she found a whole nother level of peace and was able to experience some things that were really cool. Another good example is a caregiver to his 90-year-old grandfather, David. He shares how shutting the five up helped him as well. I've been shutting the five up every morning for the last 2 weeks. So he went 14 days. That guy's a champion. It's honestly been incredible, man. I'm getting better at it. At first, I would have to focus pretty intensely to clear my head. Now it's quite a bit easier and always brings my mind to a clear place of peace. I did experience peace and a grounding to focus on current present moment. Thank you for the challenge and encouragement, Jimmy. I will continue shutting the five up daily. So guys, we have all kinds of testimonials. We have all kinds of stories. Certainly would not claim this as a medical expert, but my mother-in-law said that her blood pressure has gone down because she has taken time to sit still. Again, I am no doctor. I don't claim that that's going to work for you, but just the fact of sitting still can put you at such a calming place to where you can go be more productive. You can get more things done. You can love on your spouse at a whole nother level because you just appreciate that 5 minutes.
No, I think that is very good. And it's always good to hear those stories about, people who have, found a way to just quiet the noise of life down
Totally.
long enough to just get, even if it's just 5 minutes of peace of mind, it's like the impact that could have on the rest of your life, I think is just phenomenal.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I even have a coffee mug with peace on it.
So as you think about, the future for Shut the Five Up, I mean, what are your thoughts about where do you want this to go? I mean, what's your vision when you started this? Like, hey, this is how I would define success for this venture.
Great question. I don't think I would have even written the book, to be honest with you. So it wasn't something that I said, hey, I'm seeking this out and I want to do something for other people. I wrote the book for myself. I'm going to be honest with you. I wrote the book because I was in a time of need. 2018, I told you about my wife, but she also got in a major car accident that year.
Oh, wow.
She lost a grandfather. I lost an uncle. I had a major business failure where we lost our savings 401k and owed money at the end of the day. Right. And so it was an all-in move. And it was just the world seemed to just be coming down on me. There's certain things that I could have done differently in the business side of things. But you can't plan on a car accident. You can't plan on miscarriages happening or deaths in the family. And it just started pouring out of me. So there wasn't a goal right away to do anything other than to kind of journal and get kind of some thoughts out of my own mind. But what ended up happening is I started writing the book and I started realizing that, hey, this is so powerful for me. It's so powerful for this guy I just met on the plane. Who else needs this? And the best way to format that would be a book. And so I really took the time to step back and say, okay, now I want to write a book about this. I outlined the whole thing and really started figuring out, okay, what are areas where this has come in handy? How do I do it? Why did I create it? All that kind of stuff. So from this point on, I want to get this book into the hands of the masses. I believe that there is mass panic and chaos right now. And I believe sincerely that the concepts in the book can provide peace to anyone who reads it. And especially with the COVID-19 kind of stuff going on right now, it's crazy. There's virtual funerals that are going on. There's social distance. Got to be 6 feet away from people. We're all social beings. It's very hard to do. There's just, people are losing their jobs. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on right now. but you can find peace by following the concepts in the book. And, really, that's why I want to do. I want to get it into the hands of not only your listeners, but the people that, just everybody. I think everybody could use this book.
No, I absolutely agree with that, because it is something that, the mental health of, the people around us or the people at a distance is becoming more and more of a focus, because I don't think we realize the lasting impact or the ongoing effect that, all the measures are having now. And it's great that we are taking the measures to be safe. But at the same time, people also will have to wrestle with, hey, the mental side of this as we, continue to stay safe, but even afterwards, like, how do you restart life and all of these thoughts, these concerns, all of the stress that you have to deal with? Just like, how do you find an answer to, start to navigate all of that will be thrown at us?
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree with you more. Like I said, I know I'm talking to kind of a business kind of group, and I love that because I have an entrepreneurial spirit. But your business may have declined. You may have lost a business, but what are you going to do to get yourself back up? Like I said, I turned to drinking and other kind of things in the moment, and it wasn't good. What was good, it was me actually taking the time to write the book. But it was also a benefit to sit still and to just mourn the loss. Hey, I lost my business. I lost two beautiful kids that we have no idea, uh, what they would have done in life. But what did I do? I decided that let me sit still. Let me, there's chaos and craziness going all around me, but let me just sit still. And in doing so, I believe that coming out of the COVID-19 kind of thing, that this will help people get back on their feet.
Awesome, awesome. Now, what was the research for this book like? What was that process?
Wow, it was fun. So it's when you're researching something that you have a passion about and passion for, it flies by. And so I did enjoy looking at articles. And I mean, for the last few years, I've been studying mindfulness and peace and just anything I could get my hands on to really understand the concept better. And what kept coming up and what was encouraging is that silence or meditation of sorts was almost always in the research. I mean, it was something that I found over and over and over again. And so in the book, I combine, just research that I found scientifically, as well as actually, we tap into religion a little bit as well, because I know that people learn in different ways. So I did enjoy the research side of it. And I can tell you that 10 years ago, I would never have said that. But when you find something that you're passionate about, the research side goes by rather too quickly. So, but it was fun. It was a good process.
Yeah, it's because I think that is a good thing, because a lot of people, they come across, these flashy new ideas or something that's trending. Hey, it's trending to do this. Or like, even when yoga first came out, like, people like, it's trending, and they were just, throwing out all these facts that they've heard other people say. But when you actually taking the time to actually research it and understand it, and I think to come from that perspective, it makes you appreciate the process and what you have in the book, because it's not just, your random opinion of, something you did in your closet, to where it's like there is research behind it. So I think that adds a bit more value to the book.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you saying that. Like I said, the research side was fun for me. The actual citation part was not as fun, but thank you, Susie Bowles, my editor, who helped make that process a little more fun for me. But actually, reading and learning about the concept and about why 5 minutes, why sitting still, just the whole concept of everything I came up with was very fun, and I enjoyed it very much.
Awesome. So as you talk about, the different things that you developed through the process of writing this book, what would your wife and your family and your friends around you, what would they say? If we were sitting here talking to them, what would they say? Like, hey, this is what I noticed about him in the in the process of developing this book and in the process of just practicing himself.
Yeah, and I will say, as a total side note, my family has been super supportive of me, and I just want to give them a quick shout out and a thank you. So my wife, Erin, my parents, Jeff and Mary, and my wife's parents, Judy and Brian, have been instrumental in really helping me get this book off the ground. I think that they would tell you that, that I kind of maybe found a passion. If you have 7 businesses in 14 years, you have some that just are not passion projects. They could just be needing to make money in the moment. And that's what some of my businesses were. And some of my businesses were successful. Some of them were not. But this one is something that I think has a lasting impact on me. I believe that they would say that I've really found kind of a passion, if you will, and that I've devoted time to this subject. And not only is it a matter of sitting still for 5 minutes, but it's also, what can you do in 5 minutes? How productive can you be in 5 minutes? So the book talks a little bit about what you can do with your extra 5 minutes, or what you can do with a different 5 minutes. But I ultimately believe that Shut the Five Up is something that my family is just very excited and encouraging of me to create and to push forward. We got a website that's shut5.com. It's going to be a place where you can find a bunch of different resources and tips and tricks. And also, for having me on here, I want to give you guys a free copy of the book, which comes out May 5th. And you would just go on Amazon and type in Shut the Five Up. And for the first 5 days, of course, because it's Shut the Five Up, the book will be free. So I want your listeners to know that that is a great resource for them to get, and you'll be able to get the e-version of it for free. So
awesome. So that is May 5th. The book comes out officially for everyone. Perfect. So, and they can find it on Amazon. Now, if people are interested in following more stuff any other interviews or any other, Facebook Lives or Instagrams or whatever, how can they find you?
Great question. So yeah, definitely on Facebook, we have kind of our strongest following. You would just type into the search kind of bar, shut5.com, and we'll be the one that comes up. So that's the best way to find us and stay connected. And definitely would love to have you guys on the page, making comments, letting us know what's working, what's not working. Is the book a perfect work? No, by no means. It is needing feedback from people just like yourselves in the business community who say, hey, I tried this or I tried that. And there's going to be things that I didn't think of. And we want to share that with everyone so that we can all find more peace.
Perfect. So thank you so much for being on the show. The book is Shut the Five Up. It comes out officially May 5th. So definitely, hit Amazon, check it out, and also check them out on Facebook to find out all the updates of what's going on. So Jimmy, thank you so much for being on the show.